Many people ask me how I write, what my process is. I must admit I still don't have it figured out, even with over 7 books out. I know it's something I have to do, and it's something that I cannot live without. As I've mentioned before, I've been writing for as long as I can remember, and will continue to do so. But what is writing a book, and how do you do it? What's the process behind it all? How do you go from having an idea for a book to actually having the finished book? I want to start by saying writing a fantasy book can be a rewarding, creative endeavor. The first thing you need is an idea. I believe this can be a somewhat difficult first step, but the ideas have to come. You, and you alone, must develop a unique and compelling concept for your fantasy world, including its magical systems, creatures, the rules of this world, and the characters. You have to consider what themes or messages you want to convey through your story. Some ideas will be amazing, and others will need time, days, months, even years to percolate until they are finally ready. I'd had the idea for my Heathens series for almost 20 years. At first I made it a very sanitized version, as I wanted to present it to literary agents and publishing houses. But then, after the Dwellers series was released, I began to write Heathens exactly how I wanted it. In fantasy writing, you also have to create a rich world. This means building a detailed and immersive world with its own history, geography, cultures, languages, and religions. This is where you are able to sweep the reader away and make them forget who and where they are. You also make them forget that they're even reading a book. Have you ever finished a book, reading the last few lines, and reality setting in as the world you've been in crumbles into the background, and your reality starts to set in? You're no longer in an enchanted world, but rather in your garden or living room, your dog or cat giving you a quizzical look as you finally return to our world. Be sure to design unique magical elements that fit into your world. You and you alone have the power to do so, and you should take advantage of it, as it makes for a more enjoyable story. Now, character development. Next thing you need to do is craft well-rounded, relatable characters with distinct personalities, motivations, and flaws. No character is perfect. They will have flaws and quirks which will drive the most patient person mad. Consider the roles of the heroes, anti-heroes, villains, and sidekicks. Who are they? What is their story? Remember, no villain is ever just a villain. Normally, I find the villains are the most complex characters to write. There's always a story behind them, and it can be a very interesting one. Now, let's talk about the plot and outline, which is every author's nightmare. You need to plan the overall plot structure, including the initial incident, the action, the climax, and ultimately the resolution. It's not always so clear-cut, but the reader has to feel the jeopardy. They have to feel the emotions. The characters do. Fear, isolation, terror, anger, rage. Also try adding subplots to add depth to the story. Every little helps. Next thing is writing style. What is your writing style? This is where you need to be true to yourself. Definitely choose a writing style that suits your story, whether it's descriptive, poetic, or straightforward. Be sure to maintain consistency in your tone and voice throughout the entire story. I'd like to think I have a distinct writing style and like to present my characters in a certain way. Next, you just start writing. Make sure you start writing. Get that first draft done. The advice is always to begin with a captivating hook. But I'm not one for hooks, as it means people setting overdone scenes to grab the reader's attention. Begin with a captivating intro to draw readers into your world. Don't worry about perfection in the first draft. Focus on getting your ideas down. You can tidy up afterwards. Then there's the world building. This is where world building comes in. Introduce your world and its rules gradually, succinctly, giving a drip effect that draws the reader in as they fall in love with your words. Avoid dumping words. This is supposed to be captivating storytelling, not a science essay. Once again, show, don't tell, through the character experiences and dialogue. There has to be character growth and conflict. This is a step that's missed by a lot of authors. You must place characters in challenging situations that force growth, introspection, and ultimately change. Villains will undoubtedly regress. There will be no huge redemption arc, unless of course you want your villain or villains to become a hero by the end. But isn't that just a little bit boring? Create internal and external conflicts to keep the story engaging. Now this is the part every author hates: editing and revisions. Don't forget to review and revise your manuscript for clarity, grammar, and consistency. Remember to read it aloud or have one of the word processing applications dictate it back to you. You'll be surprised at how many errors you've missed, even after multiple pairs of eyes and checks on the manuscript. Get an editor. There will always be affordable options, but a good editor is invaluable, and if you want to make this a career, you'll need a good trusted editor. You could also seek feedback from beta readers or writing groups. Next, how do you want to publish? You have to decide whether to pursue traditional publishing or indie publishing. If traditional, prepare a query letter and manuscript if choosing that route. This was what I always found tricky. Now, you write to literary agents, you send a synopsis, a cover letter, and copies of the first chapter. Even if you have the best story ever, yours might not be the story they're looking for, and that's okay. The beauty of the world we live in now is there's so many opportunities to get eyes on your work. Indie publishing is a favourite of mine, as you get to cut out the middleman or gatekeepers. If your work is gripping, your readers will let you know, and likewise if it's a terrible story. They do not beat about the bush, and I love them for it. As an indie, I think it's important to give freebies, so perhaps write a story or short prequel to a series. This gives readers the chance to sample your work. Now, marketing and promotion. I never did this and I suffered greatly for it, but you will need to develop a marketing plan to reach your target audience. In this day and age, social media is a must. You must learn to navigate it, learn how to use it, and find your ideal readers on it. You could also have a simple website and any other online resources where your books are listed. This is a must, as people have to know where to find you. And finally, let's talk about the most important thing about writing a book: persistence. You must be able to persevere, as writing a book takes time and dedication. You have to love it for the sake of loving it, not to make money or to make a profit or to earn a living from it, but you must genuinely love writing. Stay persistent and open to feedback, and be able to separate good feedback from bad. I once had a literary agent tell me my first book series, The Dwellers Beneath the Arches, wouldn't be liked by readers, as it was too dark. But the reviews speak for themselves. Never let anyone tell you what you can and can't write. There will be a reader for every book. We are all different and very unique, and we all want to read different stories from different minds, different cultures, and different regions of the world. And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to writing a fantasy book. Your unique vision and creativity will make your story stand out. Good luck with your writing journey.